Hey, I'm Jake Spainhauer, and I chose to do my presentation on the faulty budget case in Chapter 2. Basically, this case follows a guy named Jackson Daniels, and he was asked to prepare a budget for a company called Lynchburg Manufacturing. And in his budget, he accidentally predicted twice the sales of a unit of their product than what is likely to happen. And Daniels, after thinking about this misstatement, felt uneasy about it and decided to tell Pete, who was the VP of production, and hoping that Pete could help him resolve this conflict. So Pete didn't take this very well, and he told Daniels to keep his mouth shut about it, and that if he were to tell Cuervo, his boss, it would result in 10 people being fired because they had hired 20 additional people as a result of this budget, and 10 of them would need to be let go as a result of the overstatement. And Pete argued that these firings and letting people go would decrease the company morale, and that's the last thing this company needed right now. And Daniels eventually agreed to keep his mouth shut, but it was really bothering him, and he felt it was bothering his conscience, and he felt he needed to do something about it. Daniels would most likely lose his job as well if he tells Cuervo, his boss. So here's a few of the case questions that I'm going to go through in the following slides. So first is, what should Daniels do? He has several options here. Mainly, he can keep quiet. He can tell his boss, Jose Cuervo, or he could just quit and not face either of those decisions. The most ethical decision, he needs to look at first he needs to figure out what will affect the most people. This is a very utilitarian way of viewing this. So he also needs to look at the basic human rights, such as keeping these employees' jobs, and keeping their families, being able to provide for their families. And he also needs to be able to do something that he can feel comfortable about. So I feel that he should tell Cuervo, because Cuervo deserves to know, and this could affect the overall performance of the company. I feel that if he can develop some sort of strategy to increase the sales and meet these targets, it could actually be a benefit to the company. So how should he take action? He needs to tell Pete. He can't go behind Pete's back. And he needs to take action quick. The longer he waits, the harder this is going to get. As he's meeting with Pete and Cuervo, he can strategize with them to come up with a plan to meet their sales goals that he came up with in the budget. So what's at stake? Many people's jobs are at stake. As he said before, 10 people would have to be let go. Pete and Daniels could eventually lose their jobs, and if this mistake isn't corrected, the company could eventually shut down because it's spending too much money. And also, Daniels' integrity and accountability are at stake if he chooses to remain silent on the issue. So Pete will probably try to counter by saying he shouldn't disclose on the matter. He'll say that company morale is the most important thing, and that this would just put an increase of stress on Cuervo. And he should respond by explaining the long-term consequences and not just looking at the short-term benefits. Use the increased sales projections to increase company morale and give them something to look forward to. If they don't disclose this, they could both lose their jobs for going behind Cuervo's back. And the most important thing is to protect the success of the company and help people not to lose their jobs. By doing this, he would also keep his integrity. I believe that this is the right action to take, and that he should work with Cuervo and Pete to strategize and meet their sales goals. Thank you.